Hi, can you tell me what you experienced on Saturday when you took part in the Yoga Nidra field trip?
I think that for each one of the four Nidra, I experienced something slightly different. It was the first time I did a walk meditation. So for that particular one, I was so relieved because one of the biggest fear I've ever had was to lose my sight and to lose my independence through losing sight. Not that I'm in any particular position where that could really happen as such, but I always thought if I'd lost my sight, I'd be lost because I'd be too scared of walking with not being able to see. And doing that exercise allowed me to realize that there is an inner knowledge. We just know if we are just giving ourselves a chance to be guided by our environment and be really in contact with our body. There is an inner wisdom, an inner knowledge of like a marriage between the inner and the outer. And not only I wasn't scared at all, I almost felt pleasure in being able to trust my body, trust my environment not to deliberately get out to get me. I felt safe. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and he freed me from a fear that I've had for a very long time of not trusting. So that was wonderful. Really, really enjoyed it. The second Nidra, it was in the forest, and for me, it touched something deep to do with my own grief. The moment I lie down, grief overwhelmed me to the point that I could hardly hear you, unfortunately. Though you really did try so hard to walk around and make sure everyone could hear you, I was so wrapped in my own grief that I just had to let it happen. I know that the words were hitting me somehow. I couldn't quite be with it. I just had to relinquish it all and let it happen. I was seriously sobbing. I could hear some of the words. Some of your words reached me, and therefore then I was trying to, okay, let's put these roots going down. But it was beyond all that. It just went beyond all that. The forest took me, and I just had to let it go.
And how do you think that benefited you, or not at that time?
Well, I always trust that if something happens, it's because it needs to happen, and therefore, that I felt held in a safe place where I could grieve. And it's not very often that we can do that outside. I always find that nature in itself is a leveler, an equalizer, if you wish. It brings things to a place of balance, whether we like it or not. We don't have to do anything. We're just there, and it does it for us. So it was great, the fact that I felt held, I felt safe, and I could just sob and let my body melt in the earth and be held.
So the forest held you and supported you on that journey of
yeah,
grief?
Definitely. I wasn't looking for anything else in a way. For me at that moment in time, I just needed to be true to myself. I didn't care if anyone saw me or, a couple of times when I opened my eyes, I saw birds looking at me, which was so sweet. They all came around us, and there was a blackbird or a couple of tits just coming and perching and watching, and a little red robin, and I just felt like, I don't know, one of the princesses from Disney, in the woods, and there it is, all the birds looking around. It was just really authentic, and it was what I needed. It was just a bit of healing, just reassurance that life goes on, and if only we allow it, it's there for us.
Was that one of the wisdom nuggets you took from that?
definitely just a reminder that really we don't need to do anything other than come to class, turn up for class, and the rest will just happen.
Unfold.
Yeah, in nature, I really do believe that this is the major lesson. Just turn up for class, come to nature, and nature will do the rest. So that definitely did it for me. Yeah. And then we carried on with the walk. Again, it gave me another opportunity to walk even a little bit faster. Again, I did my best with my eyes closed and loved it. Loved it to notice how the body naturally found balance, even with my eyes closed. And yeah, it really was wonderful, that. And it doesn't happen often that we got the opportunity to walk around with our eyes closed without the support of someone physically holding us. So it was lovely. And then we arrived at the lake, at the pond. The water has an healing effect for me anyway, straight away. I just love it. It just, because I'm a sign of earth, I think it mellows me. I love the explanation you gave us to notice and brought to our attention the difference that we had beneath our feet, how it felt to be in the forest, and in the first part where it was slightly harder, and then the forest was a different solidity to it, and then how if you bring your attention to what's happening under your feet, you really could feel the water. It really does sip underneath the edges of the pond, and you could feel it. So it was wonderful to have that awareness. What was really interesting is that by then, though there are strangers around us, because even though we're in a group and we want to all be together, and you introduced us and made sure that we all accepted one another, it really felt like that, because even though people were still themselves, someone can do things that can slightly irritate you, or they might just kind of look a bit funny. But somehow by then I really felt it was one. There wasn't any more me and them. It was just us doing the same thing together. So that was really reassuring, and it certainly made me feel comfortable. Because you do, like you said at the beginning, you do have to make yourself vulnerable to be in that space together. And it was true, but it felt vulnerable in a safe way again, and then in a comfortable way, accepted. That meditation was probably the best one for me in terms of easiness, because I think I'd left my grief behind, and I could feel like, oh wow, yeah, I'm present here, I can really hear you. And I enjoyed it because as a student I could really follow you, and it was great.
And the instrument.
Oh, I love the instrument. The instrument was just perfect, because you are right, there is obviously water, especially if everything around is so quiet. It means that you can hear water, but it was a quiet day in a way. There is no wind or anything, so yeah, there it was, exactly that. It put us exactly in the right place, and yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. It just really made it. And yeah, being in a city as well, you were right, you can hear the various noises of the traffic, but then there are animals around, and you could hear the ducks and so, and people, so, and dogs, and so I liked it all. But to have that instrument really just brought the mind back, allowed it to be there, and it held the space really well. So thank you for that. It was really lovely. And then we walked to the last Nidra. It was in a part of the ground that was more grassy, and the walk was interesting because by then I think I really was in the zone. And sometimes you look at things as if you saw them for the first time. It reminded me of after I've done a week of silence, like a silence retreat. I remember going out to the park and everything seemed different. Everything was just like I was a baby, brand new. And I somehow felt like that just kind of looking at trees, and there was an explosion of colors and smells, and but even the trees that were just meh, you know, been there like hundreds of years, everything had I don't know, a newness, because it was me, I think, that had placed myself in a different...
You had changed.
Yeah, I felt like really like, you know, like I was looking at things differently myself, just...
Like a veil had lifted.
Yeah, seriously, very much so. Yeah, definitely. And where we went, it was slightly windy, and it was nice to have enough space all around us where we could find a place for ourselves that suited ourselves in that moment in time. Some people lie down, some people sat up, and I enjoyed the fact that I was with my back against the tree, and I could feel a breeze, but I wasn't directly in the breeze. And then the breeze changed direction, and it was in a different place, and I felt that the Nidra was perfect for that. It was just really perfect for that space. And again, I was in the right place emotionally to receive that Nidra.
It was about welcoming.
Yeah, it was really just embracing. And so, like I said at the beginning, you know, I just felt that I had arrived. There was nothing else for me to do but to open my arms and just let it all happen. Don't try to change anything. Don't try to, you know, just having to somehow prepare. And yeah, I just felt like it was just exactly as it should be. And that was wonderful, a real gift and a treat, because it doesn't happen often in our lives, unfortunately, where we just can be ourselves. Nothing needs to be changed, nothing needs to be, I don't know, done, you know? We're fine exactly as we are. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I look forward to the next one.